Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another video. So, today I'm just gonna show you more replays. It seems that when I did the Enneacraft deck profile, a lot of people like, well, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but everybody who commented on that video said that they wanted more replays and have a better understanding of the deck, and I am here to please. So this is my record as of now. We did play a few more games a little bit after the last video. These these two were the same deck. It was Ryzeal Mitsurugi. I lost one and I won one. This was on Maliss. I will show you the detail involving that in a bit. And the last one was Yummy, pure Yummy. I am going to show you the replay behind the Maliss and the pure Yummy. I'm also gonna show you the match that I lost against the Mitsurugi player. And I'll also show you the win that I had against Pure Sky Striker. I felt like those were some games that were kind of integral and kind of like showcases stuff that people often miss when it comes to the Enneacraft deck. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to be very quick on this one. So you see this Chaos Hunter right here. The two games were immediately like, we literally just scooped after game 1 and 2. Like, game 1 they had their starter, I had no cards. Second game, I started with Enneacraft release, and they just immediately scooped after watching that. So this game, they went Dormouse, they went Ghost for Dormouse for Rabbit. The moment Dormouse hit the board, I chained Chaos Hunter, and he chained Marsh Hare, banishing White Rabbit out of his hand. So his hand was Gold Sark, Marsh Hare, White Rabbit, backup, and I think the set card, which is, I think it was one of the traps. It was a really good hand for going first. And you would think that Chaos Hunter is enough to stop this deck. He plays Nightmare Cerberus. Comment down below if you tell me this is standard in Maliss, because I've been watching a lot of YCS profiles and I barely see anybody play this card. I will say this, he got me. Like, that is like the one loss that I had. He just had the out for the Chaos Hunter. I'll play it out, and as I play it out, I'll explain all the reasons why Maliss is a bad matchup and I oversight for the deck. So the thing about Maliss and the reason it's such a bad matchup is because some of these cards don't target. Like, GWC doesn't target to bring back something. Her Scripter doesn't target to banish. So Astapixia is really not that good against the deck. There are some tricks that you can do. Like, for example, they summon Link Spider here. We activate Rebirth. We know about the 2 Marsh Hares, but we didn't know about the backup at Inister. I just went on a hunch and thought that maybe he had the backup. That's why we're going to set Alazonea. So we're setting the Alazonea, and they normal summon the Marsh Hare. Another option was to set Tromaria. But yeah, they link away those two, they activate Wick, they summon Wicked, and to nobody's surprise, they do have the backup. So backup effect, Wicked effect, they banish the White Rabbit. That White Rabbit was already banished this turn. We're going to flip the Alazonea. So they're going to add, and they're going to add the Wizard. We're going to add Release with Alazonea's effect. And now this is a 50-50. If we hit the Marsh Hare, we immediately lose. If we hit the Wizard, we have a chance. And we hit the Wizard. shout out to our opponents thinking that they didn't shuffle, doing book auto shuffles. So they still have plays. They end turn, and now we go. And the wizard goes back to their hand. We draw into a Torimar. So I will generally admit we did misplay in this game. And that misplay is gonna make it so they can OTK us. So we activate Tromaria here immediately. The reason we're going to do Tromaria is because we want to set this Atorimar as soon as possible. They activate the March here to banish the red. We set the Atorimar. They go ransom effect. And then they banish with the red effect, rabbit effect. They add, rabbit will summon. And the rabbit activates here and the wicked activates here. So they're chain blocking the white rabbit, which is another thing that makes this matchup really awkward for us. Them chain blocking means that Atorimar can only respond to wicked. And that's not good for us because it means that they get to set with white rabbit. But if they add with the wicked, this is just more follow-up. So we're kind of even at dire straits here. Like nothing good will happen out of this interaction. I choose to flip the Atorimar here. And you can make the argument that you can just keep the Atorimar for them flipping their MTPO7 because the MTPO7 can banish a card because of red. I just chose to flip Atorimar because this will punish the Dormouse being summoned. So they go Dormouse, we chain Atorimar. We are a mandatory effect, so we are always chaining one. So the way this works is Dormouse is going to summon, and then we're going to flip the Atorimar. They're going to flip MTPO7 in a moment. Yep, they do. They banish the March here. They add Chessy Cat, and they banish our Whale. So in hindsight, keeping Whale for MTPO7 probably was the better play. You eliminate the factor of them adding Chessy Cat, and you also eliminate them just trying to like banish any of our monsters, because banishing our bodies is really important, especially since they can OTK next turn. So they summon the Dormouse. We flip everything with that Torimar. So now they only have one space. They go March here. So we're at this point. We activate the Tromaria, and we go Tromaria into Oknaria. And you'll see that we're going to resolve all the Enneacrafts here. But the problem with this is, like, what are we adding that is actually going to stop our opponent? Like, I don't remember if Rebirth, I cited out one copy of Rebirth, which I think I did. I just went to battle phase. I just did a Torimar. Yeah. Now I remember. So our other reveal was 2 reverse and then a Torimar, and it gave us a Torimar. It did not give us Rebirth, which is very unfortunate because drawing Rebirth, grabbing Rebirth would have meant just using Rebirth and just like spinning back our cards and give us a mulligan. Probably even more odds or to draw something better for to deal with the opponent. And also having the Rebirth as an interruption, because it makes it so if we have Rebirth to flip a Torimar, we can just book their entire board and they can't do anything about it. So I gotta show you a list real quick. This is a list that I played against the Maliss player. I cited out one Rebirth and one Enneapolis. You can see by this replay, citing out that third Rebirth actually mattered. Because if we could have drawn into a Torimar with Rebirth, we could have booked their entire board and they couldn't do anything about the monsters that were on board. Sadly, that is not the case, and they're just gonna use their bodies to make access code. And this is another reason why the matchup is so bad for us. Access code doesn't target, so like they're just gonna pop everything. Like, we did not get to Arcantel because Arcantel is just not good against Hard Scripter, which is another option that they had. And now they go Wizard, so Wizard changing that to attack. Wizard changing that to attack position also mattered. It made it so it was enough damage to go for game. It was still enough. It was still game no matter what, because the access code. The Red Ransom was switching the attack of the Nibiru to 600. So yeah, that was that loss. So this was the Zaborg build. As you can see here, I played against Maliss with that one. Let's see if we can find the other build. This is the Zaborg build. I tweaked it up a little bit. I moved my Vanity's Ruler to the main deck. And we're still on the 3-dimensional figure. So Sky Strikers went first, and this is a blessing in disguise because Evenly Matched really destroys our deck. But they chose to go first. This is a really cool trick. They're doing Fallout the Virtuous to pop their own Engage to draw an extra card. And they set their board. We're doing the Orgia. So the reason we're doing this one is because this will set the Atorimar, and that really when you're playing against your opponent with Enneacraft, you want to show your smaller Enneacrafts first, because they don't know that you have the bigger Enneacrafts. So by showing them the small ones, you give them like that false sense of security where they are not playing around the big ones because they don't know exactly what you're setting. If they always assume this is gonna be the Org, then you can just catch them by surprise with the Atori. So we set Atori, we set Astapixia, and I think we're good to go against our striker opponent, because outside of this droplet, nothing that he has is going to beat what we have set. The moment they flip Virtuous or Widow Anchor, we're just going to flip the Astapixia. And the moment they flip anything else, we're just gonna flip the Atorimar. So we're going to do Orgia. They're going to flip the Fallen and the Virtuous. We're going to flip the Astapixia. Immediately upon this flip being flipped, they cannot activate this Widow Anchor, and that will come up. They chain the droplet, sending Fallen and the Virtuous. If I was him, I would have sent the Ray, because by not sending the Ray, now we can flip a Torimar, and a Torimar is going to negate the droplet. They can still use Striker A0 here, but that won't stop the Astapixia from negating. That won't stop the Org from resolving, and that we're pretty much a little bit ahead at that point. They try to flip a Widow Anchor. We tell them that they cannot flip it because Astapixia's like non-targeting effect is a continuous effect. It does apply immediately after being flipped. There are instances where I'm going to bring up parallels to that. So they're going to chain to the Atorimar. They're going to summon. They're going to pop. They pop the Astapixia. I feel like they should have popped the Org. I feel like that is wrong hindsight on that part. I'm going to resolve the Astapexea and it's gonna banish the Ray. We're going to resolve the Org and it's going to add us like Promaria. We're going to use a Torimar to flip them both face down, and that's game. Like they know that they can't do anything there. Now they're going to make us go first, I think. Actually, no, they activated Heat Wave, which is essentially the same thing. They're going to Org, they Ash, we're going to Trom. I feel like I kind of misplayed here. I feel like, well, yeah, we kind of misplayed. I think instead of Enneapolis, we should have just added Rebirth and use Rebirth to like just put everything back, because Rebirth has the effect to just set a monster from our hand during our opponent's turn if they summon a monster. So the moment they summon this Ray, we can just set the Astapexea or set any of the other monsters. Granted, they did have the thrust, but yeah, that was a misplay on our end. We do a Torimar, we do Tromaria, they do talents, they looked at our hand, and they're going to 0 for engage. They're going to engage. They're going to vision. They're going to linkage, and that's game. Like, I already know how this goes. Now we go to game 3. They go first. They do vision. Or actually, we make them go first. Yeah, we make them go first, which worked out because they did have evenly matched. Striker is not that good going second, and after what they did with Heat Wave, I'm pretty sure, I'm more than certain they were going to side out Heat Wave. So we activate 7 Tachyon here. We reveal to add a Torimar. We're going to put back one of the releases. We're going to set the Torimar. We're going to Okinaria. That's going to search for Tromaria. We're going to activate release for Alazonea. We kind of took a risk here. I think the card that we should have added was Enneapolis, since we already had the release. But everything's working, so it worked out. We're doing Enneapolis now. That's going to add us the Org. We're going to activate the Org. Org is going to add us Rebirth. And I often side out Rebirth when I'm going second, but this is one exception where we left the Rebirth at 3. And the thing about Rebirth is, in game states where, you know, there's going to be a standstill and there's going to be multiple turns, Rebirth is great. On situations where your opponent already has like a really strong board, you don't want to draw Rebirth. Yes, you can Rebirth to mulligan your hand out of your non-engine, but what are the odds that this Rebirth is actually going to resolve? I'd rather this just be a Mo Charmy, or be like another draw card, or be like a real hand trap. But you know, feel free to comment down below if you're an Enneacraft player and you think that like you should always keep Rebirth going second. This is something I've been doing in half of my games, and from what you saw in the Maliss match, that did not work out. Like, that Rebirth would have made a difference. But yeah, so we do Rebirth, we drew, we're going to Okinaria again, we're going to Okinaria again, we're going to triple for Zaborg, we're going to Zaborg, they go to Droplet, they're going to Shayna Torimar. And that's game. The Sky Striker cannot play without their aesthetic. So that was another replay. So this one is against the Ryzeal Mitsurugi player. You only see Mitsurugi cards, but yeah, I digress. They have to get pre-prep, they add Habakiri and Mirror. They do Habakiri, and I'm debating whether or not to keep the Shifter. You can make the argument of just going Shifter if they just try to summon from hand, because if they summon from hand, they're already exhausting their Mitsurugi ritual, and their Kusanagi will just get banished. But I chose to just activate it immediately on the Habakiri effect, just taking out as many resources as possible. We still don't know if this is a pure variant or not. And there's going Mitsurugi Ritual, they're going to Tribute. And as good as Shifter is, it's not that good against a full Mitsurugi setup. It is a blessing in disguise because they do have Droll and Lockbird. And like playing under that Droll and their setup would have been really bad. They normal the Granite. That Nibiru is dead. That Nibiru does nothing to our deck, but they don't know that. We draw for turn. And I kind of scooped it up. Drawing Enneapolis is not that good. Like, I don't want to show them our deck. Like, I rather them be surprised and just don't know what we're playing. So, game 2, we're going to Astapixia. We're going to activate here. The reason we set the org is because we don't know if they're on any hand trap. We just want to make sure that we don't lose out on any hand trap at the moment. We're going to resolve Alazonea. That goes out to our hand. Enneapolis. We're going to Tramaria. Tramaria is going to add us Leon. Yep. That's 33%. We're going to set. Tribute. I'm going to summon Zaborg. We send everything with Zaborg. I'm surprised that they did not imperm here. Maybe it's because they were reading the Astapixia and just didn't want to lose out on another card, which is fair. We're going to set the Pixia. So they drew into Sword Ryzeal. That was their draw for turn. You already saw it. I took out almost everything from their extra deck, so it's kind of awkward what they want to do. So they go X Ryzeal, they go that. We flip the Astapixia. That's going to banish the prayers. They're going to add Node Ryzeal. They go into the Administer. That doesn't target, so they get to pop the other Pixia. They go to add to Ritual. And, you know, this is the strong thing about Mitsurugi. Like, even without an extra deck, they get to play the game, like, almost entirely, which is kind of unfortunate. So we activate Jurak Axtero here. They are going to Murakumo, and we are going to discard the Okinaria. We're going to summon the Meteor. This is going to protect their board, but Astero is not once per turn, so we're just going to banish another Astero. We're going to summon another Meteor, and that Meteor is going to blow up the entire board. So they set 2. We draw into 7th Tachyon. We're going to use the release effect from Graveyard to grab back one of our scales. Very important when you're playing Enneacraft, you want this card in rotation. You want both this and Rebirth into rotation, both of them. We're going to activate the org, and they just scoop. We go to game 3. It's really hard to lose with Enneacraft once you get your engine rolling after nuking their entire board like that. So game 3, we drew entirely just engine, which is I ain't gonna say it, like, it's not that great. Like, yes, we have a Torimar and we have Arcatail and we have Astapixia, which are the big Enneacraft, but you're going to see with the board that they're going to make, it's really hard to win with just these cards. So they do the Alan Burchan. They add their pre-prep. So they add a pre-prep with Alan Burchan, which is kind of cool. This is the first time I see that interaction in this deck. It is very risky because any hand trap would just stop this Alan Burchan, and they kind of cooked. But they get to resolve pretty much everything. They're going to Ryzeal Cross to recover. They're going to set. They're going to summon Node. They're going to Detonator for that, and they're going to set. So we're doing Arcatail first, and Arcatail is setting everything. They're going to detonator here. And this is why we set the Astapix Seiya first. They have to specifically Murakumo if they want to stop this. So we're going to flip the Astapix Seiya. Astapix Seiya is going to attempt to banish. They cannot chain detonator a second time. They cannot chain the impermanence either. If they want to purification to negate, well, they can. They attempt to detonator. I tell them that they can't. A lot of people just don't know how Astapix Seiya works. We get to banish the Mitsurugi mirror. It does banish face down. We're trying to activate Arcatail again. We're going to set the Atorimar. We're going to set Arcatail again. Now they flip Mitsurugi prayers, and they're probably gonna tribute from Murakumo. It is a cost to tribute. We cannot stop this. Like, we can chain the Atorimar to negate the prayers. They're just gonna negate with purification. And we can flip the Arcatail, but you will see the interaction. So they go to do Habakiri, they bring back Kusanagi, they choose Murakumo and Kusanagi, and this is another reason why the matchup is bad. Like, really another problem with this deck. Like, they're chain blocking with Kusanagi, and like, we're not gonna negate that with Satorimar. If we had the Okinaria, we cannot use the effect at the moment. So they grab back prayers, they summon Murakumo. Oh yeah, so Kusanagi targets. Yeah, Kusanagi targets from the graveyard. We told them that they cannot activate Kusanagi because of Astapix Seiya. So the only real activation here was just the Murakumo, which we cannot stop at the moment with any of these cards. So yeah, they go Murakumo. Murakumo adds prayers. They're going to Murakumo to pop. We're going to flip Arcatail. Can you guess what's gonna happen here? They're going to Ryzeal Cross, detach from Detonator to stop the Arcatail. And this is a big problem that I have with the deck. Arcatail doesn't work like Pixea. Pixea, just upon being flipped, just cannot be targeted anymore. Arcatail's effect to protect your Enneacrafts does start a chain. And it only protects Enneacraft. It doesn't protect your set monsters. This set monster, even though you know it's an Enneacraft, your opponent does not know it's an Enneacraft. And that's really unfortunate. I honestly would have liked if this would have been worded in another way, that it just doesn't work like that. Like, because the continuous effect the Arcatail has is the one for where they take 900, which they will take 900 like in a new chain or like in a new instance. So yeah, we just lose this duel. Like, the Murakumo is going to pop everything, and we cannot stop that. So yeah, let's go to the last replay. So this is against Pure Yummy, and I think they go first. They go first. They activate Marshmallow Yummy. We fool us on the summon. The reason we don't do it before the summon is because of Typhon Gear Gamma. There are Yummy players that have been playing that in the past, so we just don't want to like misplay into those cards if we don't have to. This does misplay into K9, but I don't know why would you summon Marshmallow here instead of just normal summoning Cookie. Like, I see little to no drawbacks by summoning Cookie first, like especially with that hand that they have. But I digress. We activate Fua, and they have Called by the Grave. Yeah, we're going to the next game. There's no point in like dealing with a Yummy M board with just our hand. We have 2 searches from the monsters, but they even have the Dominus Purge, so that was a losable game no matter what. So we go first. We set the org and we activate the Trom. So setting the org means that if they try to ash at any moment, we can flip the org, and that's going to add us something. Although they do have infinite permanence, so it's something to keep in mind. Let's talk about the fact that they open both Obedience School and Hornet Drones also. Yeah, I just figured I'd bring that up. 2 limited cards. Yeah. So Trauma resolves. They're going to add us release. We're going to release into Orc. Orc is going to reveal Alaz. We're going to activate Enneacraft to bounce back the scales. We're going to scale the Alaz. We're going to use that for Org and Rebirth. And of course, it gives us the 33%. That never fails. So we missed out on an extra add. So we activate the Rebirth here. And they Ash Blossom. I do agree with this. This is the correct Ash Blossom. A lot of people, like... I'm going to say this right now. I think Anto is the only opponent out of all the 20 duels that I've had. Out of all the 20 duels that I have with this deck, he is the only person to Ash the Rebirth. I figured I'd bring that up. Like, nobody else ashed it. Like, everybody was ashing my skills, which I think is incorrect. Because the moment you activate your second skill, you're just blowing them out of the game. But yeah, we flip the org in response to the Ash Blossom. They're going to chain Imperm. They ask about their known cards. We show them the known cards. They're going to Imperm here. So that resolves. Enneacraft is going to bounce back the org to our hand. Well, place it on the scale rather. For those who don't know that effect, it's right here. So this effect, I even wrote it down for my opponent. So we're going to Org. Org is going to grab us a Torimar. My opponent said keep going, so we're just going to set everything. I'm going to set the Karma Cannon. Enneacraft will burn them for 9. They go Obedience School. They chain the Hornet. So we're going to use Rebirth here. Rebirth for a Torimar. And that's going to set everything. They summon the Marshmallow, and we're going to set them with the Karma Cannon. And that's game. Like, they have no other ways to extend. They normal Cup C Yummy. Their hand is really good. Like, they open Cup C and they open Prosperity. I'm surprised they did not Obedience School. Like, I would have I would have Obedience Schooled. I don't see a reason why you would not activate Obedience School. Like, if they have like the most Charmy, so be it. You just summon a Snatchy, normal, and pass. Like, it's not a really big deal if I really have the Charmy. You missed out on a lot by not activating Obedience School. It doesn't conflict with any of the other cards here either. So I don't know why they didn't Obedience School, but they do their Yummy plays. We only open Dungeon. They go to Lollipop. They're going to Marsh, Meryl Marsher, and now they're Prosperity. And in their Prosperity, they revealed Warning, Lollipop, and Drool. Those are the 3 Prosperity targets. I think Southern Warning would have been a really good one, but I don't blame them for adding Drool. Like, this deck does add a bunch. Thankfully for us, we did open almost everything that we needed. So they grabbed the Drool, they said everything, pass, and we drew into a Torimar. I couldn't, under this, by the context of the Drool that they have in their hand, I could not ask for a better hand going second. Because the big issue with Drool is us not getting to our engine. We have almost our entire engine in hand. So we're going to main phase, we're going to activate the Enneacraft immediately. We're going to activate the Alaz. Like, we actually don't care if they Herald Negate. Like, we have the release to place another one, and we already know that they have rule, so we're just gonna get the best value out of this Alas. So we set the Atori. We're going to Alas again to set the Pixea. We're going to activate release. It does resolve. So we're going to place Arcatail. The reason we're placing Arcatail here is because we want to enter battle phase and contest against the Herald. So Herald says when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated. I don't know if this means depending on skills. If you do know this ruling, please write it down below in the comments, because that detail is very relevant. So we activate the Alas in the skill. We enter battle phase. We're going to try to Arcatail. Arcatail to pop the Snatchy. They're going to chain the Snatchy. We're going to chain the Atorimar. They're going to chain the Herald to the Atorimar. That does resolve. The Atorimar gets popped. And they get to summon the Cookie Yummy Way. So we go to main phase 2. We try to do the Alas. So it's either Alas or Rebirth. I think Alas is way more important in this game state because the Herald is now gone. And we have to bank on this Pixea. So they activate Cookie. They chain Cookie effect to bring back. I actually thought they would have added summoned the Cookie Yummy Way. Just to pop the second monster. But they do add Snatchy and Cookie Yummy Way. So we reveal 2 Atorimars and an Orgi. We add the Atori. They're going to try to the Snatchy and Drool. They place the Akroki. We're going to activate the Atorimar. They're going to chain. They summon Cookie and Lollipo. We're going to set the Atori. They're going to Cookie. Try to pop Enneapolis. We flip the Asta Pixea. And now thinking about it, yeah, the target for Enneapolis was an illegal target. Cookie can only pop monsters, but it doesn't matter. We're still flipping the Asta Pixea. They try to imperm. We have to explain to him how Asta Pixea works. Asta Pixea cannot target. It's a continuous effect. This card is just a really strong card against Yummy in general. So they chain the Lollipo. They try to activate Surprise. We tell them the Asta Pixea can stops the Yummy Surprise. We chain to the Lollipo, the Atorimar, and that's going to give us more counters for these as well. So that resolves. In a new chain, we're going to Enneapolis to grab back the Atorimar. And it's going to grab it back. We're going to do the Atorimar and we're going to set it. We're going to set here. We're going to Enneapolis, grab the Asta Pixea, and we're going to try to activate the Asta Pixea. This is their window to activate Yummy Surprise, which they are not doing at this moment. This would have been a really good moment to change Surprise and then change Snatchy. Because they know we have the Asta Pixea in our hand. But I digress. We know about Obedience School. Oh, yeah. So the Asta Pixea is vanishing in the a card from hand. I did declare this effect. We both technically forgot. We're going to Enneapolis in the end phase, and we have 6 counters. So that's going to burn our opponent for 54. They draw into Cookie. They synchro into Cupsy. They try to Cupsy. They try to Akroki. We flip the Asta Pixea. This was a misplay from our opponent's end. If they would have chained Akroki as chaining 1 and Cupsy as chaining 2, we could not flip the Asta Pixea. And they basically would have had a free pop. to anything on the field. They did target the Astopic Seiya anyway, so we flip we change the Astopic Seiya. We know they cannot imperm. We know they have Yomi Surprise as well. They change Kapchi Yomi Way. They summon those two. We banish the cookie from their hand. Those are the two ads from Kapsi. We tell them that the cookie has to be banished face down. Same thing with the Obedience Schooled. They discard for the Kapsi Yomi Way. They activate Kapsi to add Surprise. They try to minion. Pick Seiya makes it so they cannot target their own cards either. This works like Saint Asamina, which is again really strong. Like the fact that the young player cannot target their own cards is also really strong here. But yeah, they activate Marshmallow. They use Marshmallow to grab minion. Marshmallow does not target to grab back, which is kind of odd considering half of the cards do target. They activate minion. They synchro into Lollipo. They go Lollipo to bring back. They bring those two back. They add Yomi Surprise to summon. So we go to battle phase. They attack here. So this is where they misplay. They attacked into the Atorimar. They had game. All they needed to do was Yomi Surprise, bounce two of their monsters, as well as two of ours. Does Yomi Snatchy is only opponent's main battle phase? It is. So I would have just surprise bounced the Atorimar, and I had little to do about it, and they just could have attacked for game. But they missed out on that, and we flip the Atori. The Atori is going to set everything. We are in the damage step, so they can't even change the surprise. So everything is set, and then he loses out in the end phase because of Enneapolis. Yeah. So those were the matches. Again, let's go back to the deck. So things that we learned from these matches. Arcatail cannot protect everything, which is very unfortunate. Chain blocking is really strong against this deck. You kind of have to play all the starters. You notice that on this build we're not playing Ryzeal Leon, but on the other one we are. You cannot side out Rebirth. Like siding out Rebirth will cost you the game. Maliss is the worst matchup. That's why you see Max Chaos Hunter and Lancia here. But yeah, this is it for now. I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. This is a very boring deck, so I cannot blame people who don't fully watch the video. But I hope you found everything that I mentioned with the deck very informative. Until next time, keep practicing and keep